Welcome to That's No Class. I'm Brian Berumen.
And I'm Morgan Darian.
Welcome back to the home of class, where we talk about the most interesting and funny things happening in the news and in our lives, try to figure out how to live classy, and call out no-class moves. This week, we're going to talk about AI working for you, New York tackling their rat problem, then we've got more news in a sports edition of Double News, and then a profile in class about going over to a friend's house, and as always, your no-class picks of the week.
Love it. Love it. We had our first interview last week, and now I got people coming out of the woodwork, man. They want to be our number 2 interview.
They want to sit down in front of the brick wall and
yeah, they do.
And let us ask them questions?
They do. They say I'm interesting, and I'm like, how so?
That's a bold claim. When the Godfather of class sets the tone, you claim that you're going to be interesting.
I'm like, all right, let's see.
I'm down. I'm down to talk to anybody about anything.
Excited.
Everybody is interesting, honestly.
It's so true.
It would be so funny.
It's so true.
It's so cool.
I love it.
All right, let's get to some news.
Now here's the news.
All right, so this story comes from reporter Joanna Stern at the Wall Street Journal. And we've been talking about AI basically for the entirety of our show somehow. Never thought that that's what we would be talking about in our show.
Line, yeah.
Yeah, but constant through line. But even with all the AI stuff that we've done, this one was a shocker to me.
Okay.
So Stern's premise in her article was this. Could she use existing AI software to fully replace her in all the ways she works as a reporter?
Oh.
She makes a lot of video articles at the Wall Street Journal. I've been seeing her stuff for a while. They're really good, and she's cool. She's a reporter also, so she has to talk to people, call them to do interviews. She's on Zoom calls, and she makes TikToks. And there are companies now that claim that they can basically scan you, use recordings of your voice, and have AI make a full working video avatar for you to use in however you need.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're like me, you might be saying, oh, well, that's all well and good, but she's still got to write her scripts.
Right.
But,
oh, no.
We already know ChatGPT can handle writing scripts.
Well,
just come up with one.
Okay.
So she goes ahead and does it. She uses a company called Synthesia to scan her for video. They charge $1,000 a year to create and maintain a custom avatar.
What?
And another company called 11 Labs to synthesize her voice from existing videos she's already made. She doesn't even need to go into a booth and record. It's art. They're just like, oh, we'll just pull it off the internet. Don't worry. Like I said, ChatGPT writes the scripts and boom, she just punches it in and it's doing it all for her. She doesn't even have to be on camera or actually speak. But that is not the crazy part. That's just letting everybody know that, hey, this stuff already exists and it's already for sale from companies.
Okay.
Technologically, that's just where we're at. The crazy part is she starts messing around with it, of course, as one would, and starts calling her family and calling her bank. And both of them were fooled, thinking that it was actually her calling them.
No.
And her TikToks, people were like, it took a little while until they were like, that's where I knew that it wasn't you.
Right, but they were looking for it.
But they were looking for it. And I watched the videos. And I wish that I could say, oh, it's obvious that it's AI, but it isn't. I'd say about 75% of the time, it's totally convincing.
Oh, no. Oh, this is weird. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like it.
It was funny, her talking about herself. She's like, it didn't get any of my facial expressions. And I'm like, yeah, but if I didn't know you, maybe you're just a person who doesn't have a lot of facial expressions.
We didn't know.
I work with a lot of people who don't have any facial expressions.
It's true.
Ever.
I know those people, too.
So, yeah, it's crazy. The potential for cons and scams is what I got out of this.
Yeah, 100%.
It's
I
incredible.
mean, that's the main thing it's going to do.
It seems so easy.
We always take a step forward and then we take 2 steps back because of all the thieves.
The thieves. I was thinking about this the other day. I heard something that bank robberies are way down because we're in a cashless system in a big way. But then I was like, but it's so much easier to just scam people than it is to walk into a bank and you can get so much money.
Yeah, and you don't have the potential of like being shot and like having
no physical
to do
danger.
Hostages and all that stuff.
Yeah. Avoid that completely. We're in trouble, you and I, because there's already 20 hours of our voices up on the internet.
Oh, no.
You know, we are targets. All podcasters and all video people.
If I say something about being stuck in France and not needing money, do not believe
It's not true. It's not true.
It is not true.
My grandma got scammed that way once.
I know.
So sad.
So
sad. And they didn't even have the AI voice generator. They straight up just said they were me.
But that's just, she loves you so much.
I know. As I've told everybody, if you're a friend of mine and you get a call from me, don't bail me out of jail. Ever.
Just leave me
there. Just leave me there.
I'll be fine for a night.
Yeah, I'll figure out a way
to
get out of the way. But it does seem at the end of this, the conclusion is, it seems like we really are at the point where you can just make up synthetic people instead of paying people to do actual work.
Yeah.
Because why would I? This company, for $1,000 a year, which is way less than your salary, can be you if your job is to write things and to be on camera.
So all they would have to pay is someone to put something into like ChatGPT to be like, write about this.
Yep. 100%.
Oh my gosh.
100%. And what I was thinking about with the cons and the scams here is that, a lot of people, Americans, are like, oh, I knew this was a scam because they have like an accent or something like that.
Right.
They can just synthesize a voice that has no accent.
Yeah, or someone you know or something.
Yeah, one of your friends.
That is so weird.
I mean,
all right.
So what do you got?
Mine is the opposite.
Okay, great.
Okay. So New York is finally getting serious about their rat problem.
Okay.
They have crowned a czar. A rat czar.
A rat czar?
Yes. She's worked in the public school system for years, and the article continues by saying she'll now be fighting the real enemy. Which I thought was a funny way to say it because I'm like, what was the
old enemy?
Like
the ignorance?
Children? I don't know. At first, no one had hope of anything changing. But during the pandemic, because of all the restaurant closures, there weren't trash bags out on the streets. And an interesting thing happened. The rats didn't have their food source, so they started migrating to new areas. So now that things are back in full swing after the closures, this new rat czar and her team are going to take that info and try to change human behavior to get rats to migrate. Because killing them doesn't really work. There's too many rats.
Yeah, they're like...
It's out of control.
They breed at an incredible rate.
Exactly.
You can't.
So they've tried that already. It does not work. The only doubt I have here is that where it seemed impossible to change rat behavior, it is definitely impossible to change human behavior. She's the rat czar, but now I'm wondering who the rats are. Because... we'll see.
So the change in human behavior is what? To like tell people don't leave your trash bags out? Is that basically it?
I think they're gonna crack down on like not actually having the black like bags on the streets, and they're gonna have to have containers that are seal proof, I guess. Yeah.
And are they gonna issue fines and that kind of thing?
They probably are. So that's probably what they're looking at. But it's like it's so funny because I'm like, oh, good luck cracking down on that. You can barely get everyone who's parked here illegally.
Yeah. No,
we'll see. But I mean, that would be cool.
Good luck, Rat Czar. I would have thought there would be more like aggressive program from the first Rat Czar.
No, you have to outthink the rats. There's nothing else to it. The rats are too many, too strong, too smart.
It's crazy.
So, there you go.
All right, cool. Well, good luck, New York. Let us know how it goes.
Yes.
All right. Well, when we come back, we've got more news with a specific theme this time, and later, a profile in class for all those people low on funds right now. Thanks so much for being here with us. We love having you. We will be right back. Welcome back. It's time for more news in our segment we creatively call Double News.
Now here's the news.
Again! Stupid.
All right.
God.
This week, we're doing a theme.
Yeah.
Sports stories.
Got to.
It's not a topic that we talk about very much at all, excluding last week's Clippers rant that I went on, but usually we don't talk about sports. So we thought that we would look around and see if we could find interesting stuff going on in the wide world of sports, because there has to be, right?
Has to be.
So my story comes to us from Western Germany.
Okay.
There's a soccer team called Fortuna Düsseldorf, and it's the city's top professional soccer club. Side note, I am not a soccer expert, and the only things I do know about European club soccer is what I've learned from Ted Lasso. But the show actually did help me understand this story quite a bit.
Me too.
So this team is now in the second tier of the Bundesliga, which is Germany's soccer organization, and attendance at games has been dropping.
Oh.
It peaked during the 2018 to 2019 season when it was in the top tier of the league, and they had around 48,000 people at the games at that point. But now it's dropped down to about 29,000 people per game, which is a 25% drop.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
So the team is going to try something kind of radical to increase attendance.
Okay.
It's going to give away 3/4 of its seats for free next season.
No way.
For at least 3 home games.
Wow.
And it's going to use sponsorships to make up all the money that it isn't going to get from ticket sales. Kind of Ted Lasso-ish. Because isn't the team sponsored by Banter?
Yeah, but I think teams are always sponsored
they
by
are.
something.
Yeah,
so
maybe,
I don't know. That's
I'm
confusing.
Wrong there. But they, I guess, want to have more sponsors.
Okay, yeah. They're trying
increase the sponsors so much that it offsets the ticket sales.
Okay.
And the plan is eventually to make all home game tickets free.
Wow.
But this is a risky move.
Yeah.
Because the danger is, once fans get used to not paying for tickets, will they ever go back to paying?
Well, maybe they'll have to start really low.
Like
when they go
price-wise?
Back to yeah, and just like each year increase it by like 50 cents a dollar.
Maybe.
Until it's back to normal and they have their fan base back.
Until they have their, So, but
I don't know.
I wasn't aware of this, but in-game attendance across all sports has been declining for years.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because more and more people choose to stay home.
Yeah.
And they have a better view from their TV.
It's true. I mean, it's fun to go live events.
It is fun.
It's so fun.
Super
but
fun.
On a regular basis, I mean, you can't really see very much.
You can't.
It's really hard to see.
Yeah, or you're looking at a giant
unless
screen.
you're like courtside or whatever.
Yeah. Unless you got money and you're close.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Like the closest I've been to a Dodger game was right behind third base. And that was a great spot. It was a great spot to watch the game, but I know those tickets weren't cheap.
Right.
So
that makes a lot of sense. They got to figure it out. Apparently, one way the U.S. is dealing with this, new stadiums are being built with fewer seats in them. Just straight up. Oh.
They're like, we know we're not going to get those crowds. We're going to go lower capacity. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I do
As
think
a sports
it's a cool
fan
idea.
or as a person who likes certain sports, I do think it's a cool idea. But I wonder if it would work for all home games in terms of just the operating costs. Like, are you really going to offset that?
I don't know.
You've got a 60,000 person arena.
Yeah.
If everyone's paying $100, that's a lot of money right there.
Yeah.
But for a few games out of a season, that would be really cool. They do a lottery, and you're just like, hey, this one's free. If you guys want to come, like, it would be really cool just as fans to get that.
And it's way more fun to watch a game when there's a ton of people there.
Yes.
Like, it sucks to be like, when it's not a full stadium, you're like, oh, this is so lame. And now I spent like $50 on a hot dog.
It's true.
Why am I here? No one else is here.
Yeah, it's like being at a party when nobody's there. It's really not fun. But yeah, so they're going to try it.
That's cool. Interesting. All right.
See how it goes.
Okay.
What do you got?
I really wanted to do this story about Shaq, or Shaquille O'Neal, as I call him.
As you call
by
him.
His full name.
As you only call him.
I wanted to provide this story on how he farted during the broadcast, like last week or something, and how he blamed some lasagna that his friend Slice gave him, because I like that he has a friend named Slice, and I like that he completely owned his fart.
Yeah, I'm down with that. That's why he's Shaq.
And then I went into an internet hole trying to see if others had farted on air. And I discovered that a few people had actually shit their pants.
Oh, cool.
This CBS radio producer was laughing so hard at a joke and ran out of the room, like waddling and holding his butt. And Colin Jost has related that he has done it on SNL and that Jim Carrey has too. And then I was like, I literally can't be just making fart jokes on our show. So I returned to the very cool and very important article from the Wall Street Journal covering how the audience for women's sports is surging.
Hey.
And I honestly never thought I'd see the day when anyone would be interested in women's sports. It's just been like this never-ending litany of women's sports being trashed on. So I'm super happy to see this. Shout out to The Gist on Instagram. I love their content. It's not just about women, but they do highlight women because there's like such an inequality in that field. And so this article was just saying, the NCAA's women's college title game had twice the views than last year.
That's awesome.
They were at like 9.9 million TV viewers this time. Twice. So that's pretty cool.
That's huge.
Yeah, really big. The rights to the Women's World Cup is at like 300 million.
You mean the team that wins?
Yeah.
The American team that wins it all?
So they kind of like referenced how there was a surge like when, I think in 2019 or something, but then everyone forgot about it again. And so it's just like been this fight for women's sports. So I don't know. As these numbers rise and people pay attention, it's nice to see that perhaps new deals will be made and women's sports will keep climbing and getting exposure.
Yeah. I finally
believe it might happen.
Yeah. I do feel like something has changed. And in LA specifically, the Angel City soccer team, which is our local team, Lily went to a game and Lily loved it.
Yeah,
she came home like,
back.
oh my God, it was so much fun. That was like the coolest thing I've ever experienced sports-wise.
That's so cool.
And like, yeah, people are into that. And I think, I'm all about it, man.
That's cool.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Exciting stuff.
Very exciting.
I love it.
All right,
I like this little trip we went on into sports.
Into sports world.
Look at me go, looking up sports. Found Shaquille O'Neal farting.
Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq.
Okay.
If you call him Shaq, let us know. And if you are a crazy person that calls him by his full legal name, let us know also. But there is nobody that calls him Shaquille O'Neal except you on this planet. All right. Well, when we come back, we are going to have a profiling class, also sports related.
Oh, nice.
It's a sports episode we're doing. Okay. Whatever, man. Who cares? Sure. It's our show.
Summertime.
All right. And then, of course, class picks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Watching sports today is in many ways more challenging and complicated and expensive than ever before. Brian has discovered one way to work around the moral dilemmas in this week's profiling class.
Now, watching sports at home isn't free. In fact, of all the forms of entertainment out there, sports is the one that will likely cost you the most in the long term. And I'm not talking about going to see live events and all that kind of stuff in the end because you're a fan. I'm talking about on TV, on your couch. When I grew up in LA, we used to be able to watch the Dodgers and the Lakers on local channels just with rabbit ears at home, for free. But today, Major League Sports are all on cable. And in recent years, you have to buy an extra sports package on top of the normal price just to watch the games. And these things can cost up to $500 a season to get. Or if you're watching boxing or MMA like I used to do, pay-per-views cost $60 to $100 a pop.
Yeah.
It adds up. In my 20s, that just wasn't an option. I lived paycheck to paycheck. I was lucky if I had $20 at the end of the week for some beers. But somehow, I still managed to watch almost every UFC event for about 8 years straight. How? The kindness of friends. But those friends are not our profiling class this week. Our profiling class are some of the people who go over to watch those games. Because there are two types of guests who go to someone's house to watch sports, the entitled and the appreciative. If you overhear a conversation about where your coworker's watching the game this weekend, they might say, "Nah, I don't pay for it. I go to my friend's house to watch. He has the package." Their tone of voice lets you know they're not a sucker that pays for anything if they don't have to. They figured out how to get it for free. It's a no-class attitude, and one I find it really hard to believe that they would echo when they're actually over at their friend's house watching the game. But the appreciative people, the people we're profiling this week, know their hosts are paying for them to watch something that they really care about. I thought about it this week because a friend of mine told me the only way that he's able to watch the playoffs in hockey is because a family friend has the hockey package and invites him over. I said, that's a really nice friend because I know those packages aren't cheap. And he says, I know. I give them gift cards at the end of the year to show my appreciation. I said, that's a classy move. And he said, that's the only kind that I like to do. And in what little way he can afford to, he's making an offering to the host. Maybe $10, maybe $20. And a lot of hosts make a big deal about declining the offer, saying, oh no, don't worry about it. I didn't expect to be paid back for it, all that kind of stuff. And that's nice of them. But they'll remember the gesture that you made. Because most of class is about gestures and about recognition of other people's kindness and respect. And one classy move deserves another. Your hosts will appreciate it. You'll feel good about it. And even if they don't take the money, they'll be glad that they invited a classy person like you over to share the experience of the game or match together.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that.
It is true.
So true.
I used to always...
Gestures matter.
I mean, if you're going to someone's house and they got something like that going on, your hat is in your hand. Don't be acting like you're too proud to do something like that. Like, no.
Yeah, I could have this whenever I want.
Yeah, whenever. Like,
no.
No.
You cannot.
You cannot. They are being very nice to you. And
that's awesome, yeah.
You don't have to offer to pay for the whole thing.
No.
Just say, hey, man, can I help? Can I contribute?
Yeah.
And if they do, the host says, which has happened to me before, they're like, oh, thanks, man. Because you don't know what their situation is.
Right.
Maybe they're in a hard place financially and they're just like, I can't not watch this game. I need this to happen.
Yeah.
And like you might be
Or they thought people would pay and then no one offered.
Did.
And they're like, oh, I thought we were all in this together, but...
Yeah, and they don't want to be no class in that moment and be like, hey, anybody got any money? Let's go around the room.
Yeah.
Who's got cash?
So true. You got to check.
Yeah, you got to check.
Just in case.
But I love the gift cards. I've never paid with a gift card,
nice.
but that's a really cool. Hey, man, I got a Subway. Hey, guys, can I give you this Subway?
You want a meatball sandwich with veggies in it?
And mustard.
You're so crazy. Awesome. I love it. Great profile.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right. Well, when we come back, it is that time. You know it. No class picks of the week. Stay with us. It's time to wind down the show here, bring it to a close the only proper way with our no class picks of the week.
You're just a jealous,
no class,
lazy bum.
No class pick. Okay, I'm first this week.
Yay.
This judgment in class is about these special souls that think they have all the answers and thus shit on dreamers and doers and don't ever dream or do themselves. I read a brilliant story a few weeks ago. It was hilarious. And seldom are short stories hilarious. Sometimes they make me smile or giggle or delight in their wordplay, but rarely do they make my eyes crinkle for the entirety of the piece. Rarely does my jaw drop, and rarely am I jealous that I didn't employ such a style of writing myself. This piece did all that and more, and I'm hoping it will be submitted to the literary review that I recently started. That said, I come to find out that this other rando who had gotten to read it before me had gone up to this writer of said hilarious piece and said straight to his face, I really don't like this work. I would never accept it if I was in charge of a lit mag. Well, here I am, bitches. I will most definitely accept this work into my literary magazine. Like, lesson for all those who are striving. There's going to be wackos out there who tell you to stop making stuff, to stop trying. And those people are usually the people who don't try to do anything ever. And you should never, ever listen to those guys. They are the bringers of mediocrity and meh and blase shit. People, for the love of Jesus, do not believe these insignificant turds.
Word up, 100%.
Yeah. I was like, thank God I was there. Thank God it was the next read of that thing. I had to ask him to read it because he didn't want to show anyone else.
Is this the Pee Your Pants story?
Yeah, loved it.
He didn't want to read it?
Loved it. Man. Well, he didn't want to keep sharing it with people. I don't know. I mean, hopefully he didn't take it to heart.
I hope not. Man, people don't have senses of humor, man.
But yeah.
People really...
They do not.
They do not.
I do not like those guys. Like, shut up and go away. So anyway, yeah. What's yours?
All right. So my no class pick this week happened to my coworker.
Okay.
But it's something I've totally done in the past. So she comes out and she says, I can't believe this. Someone ate all the cookies at my desk. And we are like, well, it wasn't us.
At her desk?
Yeah. She works in a kind of tucked away place that almost nobody walks near. And she tells us this package of cookies has been on her desk for a few weeks. And she can't actually see inside it.
Okay.
So she just assumed there were still cookies in there.
No, stop
but
it.
She went to reach for one and found out the whole package has been raided. But the empty package was left behind. And she's like, this is malicious. Someone specifically kept coming back for these cookies until they were gone. So I asked her, I was like, so they were inside your desk? And she said, well, no, they were on top, but you would only know they were there if you actually walked into the space where my desk is. Yeah. They're totally not visible just walking by. Who would do such a thing?
Oh, my gosh.
I would. I would do such a thing. I have done such a thing. I know that it's no class, but food theft is hard to resist. I didn't do this one, but to me, food crime is really low on the hierarchy of crimes. And if, I have a really hard time when someone says, oh, you can take some if you want and don't specify.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not enough for me because I'll keep taking until an entire giant bag of chips is gone or whatever it is. And I know that it's no class, but people get crazy with food. Irrational. And I'm not blaming her for leaving those cookies out in the open, but you got to know that it's possible.
Well, yeah.
So.
Cookies. And also, wouldn't it be funny if she actually ate them? She just
forgot?
Yeah, I mean, it's been weeks.
It's been weeks.
How are you keeping track of how many cookies you're going to eat?
I was wondering, how artificial are them cookies if they can sit there for weeks?
It'd be so funny if she just ate them. And she's like, who did this?
Who did this?
Who did this?
Well, see, the funny thing is I suspect I know exactly who did it.
Ooh.
Because there's one person who works close, and I think I've seen what he eats, and I don't think he eats carbs and stuff. So I bet you he was like, I can't resist these cookies. Fiending for carbs, and he sees them sitting there.
I see them.
I'm like,
and she never eats them.
You don't know what you're tempting people with. You don't know people's stories.
Okay, my whole thing with people who keep sweets or something really delicious for long periods of time is that I'm sorry, after about 3 days, those are goners.
Yeah.
They are anyone else's food. They are up for grabs. You cannot keep that delicious thing in front of everyone just dangling. Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty much on her.
Yeah, if you're going to leave it out in the open for a long period of time, it's fair game.
Sorry. It's too delicious to resist.
Shouldn't have done it, but now it sounds like I'm blaming her again, and I'm not blaming her. I take the blame on myself. I didn't eat those cookies, though.
But
it wasn't
you didn't
me.
Eat those
it wasn't me. But I've done stuff like that. All right, guys. Well, that's our show. Thanks so much for being here and hanging with us. 21 episodes. Our show can drink now. Stupid. Every single Tuesday we have a new episode. We are going to be putting a pause on our video episodes for the near future. Wanted to let you guys know. Mm-hmm. We're not taking any of it down, but it is literally taking up all of our free time.
Yeah.
So if you are a video watcher and this upsets you, I'm sorry. The audio still exists. We're still going to upload to YouTube, audio only.
Yes.
It's just Morgan and I both work full time. Morgan goes to school also, and it literally takes up every free moment. We have gone these 4 months full steam and given every ounce that we have to produce all the content on all the platforms and in all the forms that we could, and it takes up too much time.
Yeah.
We don't have any time together. We don't have any time to do anything, and we just had to ask ourselves, are we a social media account? Are we a YouTube channel? Or are we a podcast? And the answer is, we're a podcast. Mm-hmm. So if you watch the show primarily on YouTube, I am sorry. But if you're a regular listener, please tell a friend about us and spread the word. We're not going anywhere. The show is still going to be here. And if we get a big enough audience and I don't have to have another full-time job, that stuff comes back immediately. That week, I am back in producing all of it. I love doing it. It's just literally consuming every single minute of our lives.
Right.
So please like and or subscribe to us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you listen. They all have subscribe buttons. Click on that. It helps us get exposure. We love you guys so much for listening. It's always amazing. Thank you so much for watching. If you did watch, reach out to us everywhere. Comment on the socials. We're on Twitter at That's No Class, Instagram at That's No Class, YouTube and TikTok. Join the conversation. That's No Class at gmail.com. We always want your no class picks. Let us know if you call him Shaquille O'Neal. That is crazy. Call the voicemail 877-7-NO-CLASS. There is not a person in the land that calls him Shaquille O'Neal. We love hearing from you guys. We love having your stories on this show. Stay classy.
Stay classy.
Oh, no, you say that.
It's okay. Stay classy.
Okay.
Everyone stay classy.
Everyone is classy. Have a great week.